guys, what's up? This is B coming to you from Guns and Accessories today. So what I want to do today is do a comparison of these two tactical 22 rifles. So what we have here obviously is the Smith&Wesson M&P15-22, and then here is ARX160 chambered in 22. So it's what I want to do in this video today is we're going to do a comparison of these two, and I'm going to talk about some pros and cons for each one of these, some advantages and disadvantages of both of these. So both of these are sweet rifles. I'll say that at the beginning. I really enjoy both of these rifles a whole lot. And I've only had this one for a few days, but still, even with that little bit of time, I've already realized the quality that's there and realized that this is a sweet rifle. Okay, first thing before I go any further, just want to show you that we're empty. And nothing in the chamber there. Empty there. And nothing in the chamber there. So completely empty. Okay, also, as I talk about these two rifles today, I'm going to refer to this as the Smith, okay? I understand this is the M&P15-22. I'm just going to refer to it as the Smith. And this, the Beretta ARX160, I'm going to refer to this as the ARX, okay? So that's what I was thinking as I was thinking about how to do this video. So that's what I'm going to call them as I go through this. I'm going to call this the Smith. I'm going to call this the ARX. Okay, so first of all, as you think about these two rifles right here, the Smith is definitely the more popular of the two rifles right now by a long shot. This is the more popular of these two tactical 22s. In fact, it may be the most popular tactical 22 that there is. This is just a solid platform, and that's what we're going to talk about. But this is definitely the more popular of the two right now. Now, I said this in the review that I did on my ARX here. This rifle is not hugely popular right now, but I believe that that's going to change, and for two reasons. Number one is price. This, when it first came out, was going for the MSRP or even more. It was going for $600, $700. So this thing was crazy expensive, and nobody was willing to spend that much. Or, you know, in a bunch of people weren't. There may have been a few people who had a lot of money to spend that just wanted that and got it. But when this first came out, it was just too expensive. People just weren't willing to pay that. And the second reason I think this is going to gain in popularity is the ARX100. That's this rifle's big brother. Was released over the last few weeks or so, and as people get that ARX100, which is chambered in 5.56, as people get that and use it more, I think that this look will become more, people will become more used to it, and I think for that, as that ARX100 comes out and as people are really able to purchase it, it's kind of limited right now, but as people are really able to buy that, and as they buy that, they'll think about a training weapon, and not only that, but people get used to the look, and I think that'll help this to gain in popularity. So for those two reasons, for price and for the ARX100 coming out, I really think that this will gain in popularity. Whether it'll surpass that, I don't know, I doubt it, but I think it will gain popularity, and I think it'll be a rifle that you see more and more. Okay, so let's talk about, first of all, both of these rifles are very easy to field strip. So let me just field strip this one real quick for you. So you just fold the stock over, you turn the safety selector, well, let me take the mag out first, sorry. Turn the safety selector that way, push the bolt catch release, bolt the guide rod block, push it down up in there, that pulls out. Pull out the charging handle, and there you go. It's pulled apart. And then to put it back, you slide that in, push that down, rock this in, let it fall, and then it's good to go. All right, so that's super simple to break down. And then of course on a Smith, it's going to break down like your standard AR, which I forgot my pins are kind of tight here. But okay, breaks down that quick and that easy. And of course you can just pull this pin out and pull the whole upper assembly from the lower assembly. So they're both extremely easy to field strip. So neither one of them has really an advantage as far as that's concerned. Okay, next let's talk about the barrels on these two rifles. Alright, so this ARX160, its barrel is a pretty good barrel. It's a solid barrel. On some of these rifles like this, on some of these 22s, they have super cheesy barrels. They have kind of like a sleeve over like a paper barrel underneath there. That's not what's going on with this one. This is a solid barrel here. Okay? So it is a good barrel. But even with it being that, it still is what I would consider a pencil barrel. But there's definitely nothing wrong with it. It's definitely high quality. But as you compare that to the Smith has, I think, like a few steps above what I would call a pencil barrel. To me, as I look at these two and compare their barrels, okay. All right, this is the ARX, this is the Smith. You can see the difference there. I don't have any long-term tests to prove it, but to me, just in appearance, the Smith barrel appears to be of better quality. Alright, so while we're here, okay, you can see on the flash hider, this is pinned, not pinned on the Smith. Which on this, it's easy. It's just a roll pin. You can punch that out with very little effort and then thread it off. This is, both of these have standard threads on them. But this one is pinned. This one's not pinned at all, so you don't have to do anything. You can just screw this off and screw silencer on there, suppressor, one of those shrouds, anything you want to, you can put on there very quickly. This one you can do the same thing. It's just going to take a tiny little bit more work to get that done. Alright, next thing is the standard sights that come with each one of these. So the sights on the ARX, as I described in my review of this ARX, to me this is kind of like Magpul with their flip up sights, their BOIS sights. The Magpul has an airsoft version, and then they have kind of their more expensive ones that they intend for the higher calibers, for standard AR-15-5.56. And sometimes people put those airsoft Magpul sights on their rifle and they work okay. And that's what I kind of think of this as being. It's more like putting an airsoft type sight on this rifle. And they work though, so I'm not complaining too much about it. And then on the back here, so right here you have 5 adjustments. Okay, on the sights there. To me, the Smith definitely wins on just the standard sights that it comes with. Those are very much plastic on the ARX. These sights on the Smith are metal. I believe they're aluminum. And they're chunky, and they're completely removable. I mean, just has this thumb screw. You take that out, boom, you can take that off. Completely take those off if you don't like those at all. And same thing for this one. It just has a thumb screw. It comes off right there. On the Smith, it has just 2 settings for the aperture. So not as many settings there. But I prefer these. These are way higher quality than what's on the ARX. But again, the ARXs, they do work. And of course, then the sweet thing about this, and of course we're going to talk about this more, is all of this, so you can really mount whatever you want to. So really, who cares? But that is one difference that you get from the factory. I believe that the Smith has better sights on them. I don't think anybody would question that. Okay, next thing is magazine. Is magazine wobble. Let me see if we can get this. So it has front to back wobble, side to side wobble. There's a lot of play in that magazine. Whereas on the Smith, there is a little bit of wobble, but not a whole bunch. Okay, so as far as that's concerned, I think that the Smith is better about the mag fitting into the mag well and it holding real securely. But while we're talking about magazines, there's more options for magazines on the ARX than there is on the Smith. The ARX, just for Beretta, which of course I didn't mention this, but I'll get to that in a little bit. But the magazines on the Beretta are made. There's all different capacities. You can get 5, 10, 20, and 30 for the Beretta. So there's a lot of different options there. Whereas on the Smith, there's a 10 round and a 25 round magazine. Those are your only two options. And there's one other company that I've seen that makes magazines for the Smith, and I think it's Plinker. I don't remember exactly. But anyways, from the reviews I've read, they're not the best magazines in the world. There was another company making mags for the Smith. I believe it was Pro Mag, and they made a sweet mag that was 32 round. But they were sued by Smith because of infringing on their patent of that type of magazine. So they had to stop making those. So you can still get those 32 round magazines for that, but on Gunbroker they go for quite a bit because Pro Mag or whoever was making that had to stop making them because of the lawsuit. On the Beretta, like I said, you get 5, 10, 20, and 30 round, and not only can you get the stock magazines from Beretta, but you can also get some others that are compatible with rifles that are built by the same company, which are the Umarex models, the Colt M4 M16-22, H&K 416-22. You can get magazines from those as well that'll be compatible here. So there's definitely more magazine options here. I wouldn't say a whole bunch more because there's not a whole bunch of other companies who make them, but there's different capacities of magazines for the ARX than there is for the Smith. Okay, so that leads me into talking about who actually makes these rifles. Smith makes this rifle. Beretta does not make this rifle. There's a company in Germany called Umarex that bought out Walther back in 1993, I believe, and Umarex, working with Walther, actually builds this rifle for Beretta. Build it in Germany, ship it over with Beretta's name on it, and sell it here in America. So this is not actually built by Beretta. This is built by Smith. Now, with me saying that, this is a high-quality rifle. You pick it up, and if you just look at it on the shelf, you may look at it, and again, it goes back to just kind of the looks of it, that it's more futuristic looking. You may look at that on the shelf and think, that just looks like junk. But if you actually pick it up and hold it, you'll feel that there is quality in this thing. It's just, it's solid, okay? But Umarex builds these rifles for Beretta. Now there are some rifles that Umarex builds that are not of the highest quality, but I believe that they've gone a step above to build this rifle. And if you evaluate this honestly, I think you'll understand that there is quality here. So that's kind of what's going on with the makers of these two rifles. Okay, so that leads me into the warranty that these two companies offer. the M&P15-22, I believe, has a lifetime warranty of the rifle, and you can send it into Smith, and they're very good about fixing things and getting it back in a fairly decent time frame. The Beretta has a 1-year warranty, I believe, and then it said if you register it, you can get a 3-year warranty. Of course, that's just for the original owner on both of those, I believe. But I think that the Smith definitely has a little bit better for its warranty going on there. Okay, so while I'm talking about that, let me go ahead and hit this point. For Smith, if this rifle has a problem with the bolt or with the trigger, well, with the bolt basically, if there's any problems here, you have to send it into Smith to have them fix it. The parts that they have in here, they don't sell, which is different than the Beretta. Beretta actually sells all the parts that you can get in this rifle. So if you want to do the work yourself and not have somebody else working on it, and somebody else have it for a month or 2 or 3 months or however long sometimes warranty work takes, you can buy these parts right off Brownells and do the work yourself if you feel comfortable, because this is kind of an unfamiliar platform probably to most of us. But you can buy parts for this. You can't buy parts for that. The original Smith parts. And so that's going to lead me into another point here in a little bit. Okay. Next thing is, this is definitely going to be a plus on the ARX, is its ambidextrous features. Okay, it's got 3 main ambidextrous features. Your safety selector, have it on both sides. Magazine release on both sides. And you can switch your charging handle. And let me just do that real quick. That easy. Change it over to this side. And you can change charging handle very easy. So ambidextrous there as well. Which the Smith has the safety on one side. Nothing over here. Mag release is on this side only. And your charging handle, I guess, is ambidextrous, just a standard AR-15 charging handle. So that doesn't matter because it's in the middle, so it really is not ambidextrous. I guess you can change the little switch over to this side. But as far as that's concerned, the ARX is going to win out on ambidextrous features. Now I realize some people, they don't like ambidextrous features. They think it gets in the way, and so that may be a positive for you. It may even be a negative. But there are more ambidextrous features on here. There's those 3 main ones: the safety selector, magazine release, and the charging handle, where the Smith really doesn't have any of those. Okay, next is, and I'm just going to kind of bounce around here now between a lot of different things, is the room in the trigger guard. I measured this, and there's just a little bit more room in the trigger guard on the ARX than there is on the Smith. I think there was about 1/4 of an inch more, so something like that. Not a whole bunch, but there was some. Okay, when you look at this rifle, to me, when I look at it, I think, goodness gracious, there's rail everywhere. But actually, I measured the rail on this, and I didn't get an exact measurement. It's kind of got a ballpark. But the rail space on the ARX is 26.5 total inches. I just measured all the rail, added it up, 26.5 inches of rail space on the ARX. There's 43 inches of rail space on the Smith. And whenever I saw that at first, I thought, no way, and I double checked it, double measured. There is 43 inches of total rail space with the stock configuration from the factory on this Smith. 26.5 inches on this ARX. So even with the way that looks and think, man, there's so much rail space on that, there's quite a bit more rail space on the Smith. Okay, the ARX can fold down smaller at its smallest point than the Smith. So if you fold this stock over, well, line these barrels up here as good as I can. Put this back out real quick. So you have that much more space that you can save with the ARX. Of course, it's going to take more dimension that direction. I measured those, and on the Smith, it's 32 inches whenever the stock is completely collapsed, 32 inches, and then on the ARX, it's about 27 3/4 inch from the farthest out point, which is right here, out to the end of the muzzle. So there's some more room that you gain with this on being able to fold it down. Okay, difference in length of pull. So, and that's one thing whenever you try to open the stock on the ARX, it is pretty difficult to do that. Length of pull. So I measured from the back of the stock here to the trigger. On the ARX, it's 13 inches. On the Smith, from here to here, it's 13.5 inches. So even though this doesn't telescope very far right here, there's not a whole lot of difference in length of pull here, just half of an inch. So so there's not a lot of difference there, but definitely I'm not a huge guy. I'm 6 foot. I'm not huge, but I'm probably just a little bit bigger than average, and I definitely can cover that up. But anyways, that's kind of the difference there. So just a little bit further on the Smith. Okay, now if you're really trying to decide between these two, and I've given you a lot of things here, one of the main things that you need to think about is why are you buying this rifle? You know, if you're buying this rifle for fun, just purely for fun, then it doesn't matter. You know, you make your choice depending on aesthetics and some of the other stuff I've talked about. You can just make your choice on whatever. If you're buying this for training, for a higher caliber and a certain platform, then of course that's going to make a big difference in which one you choose. Like I said, the big brother, the ARX100 is now coming to America. I think it's here kind of in limited quantities. It'll probably be here more and more. If you intend on that being your primary rifle, then of course you're going to want to buy this. If, on the other hand, you choose AR-15 as your standard type of rifle, you know, in 5.56 as being your go-to rifle, then this is definitely going to be your choice. There's so many similarities between this and the AR-15. It breaks apart the exact same way, all the same features. And in fact, I'm going to put up a video of me shooting this, but I noticed several times as I was shooting this, as I was holding the rifle, and as I was stepping up to the line ready to fire, I was reaching back here, trying to reach for the paddle to drop the bolt, because I'm so used to this and AR-15. So I can definitely see how that training matters, because I saw myself doing that several times, reaching up there to try to hit that paddle whenever this is what I needed to be reaching for. So, you know, this may be, you may train better with this, like if you're training for an AK-47, because this is going to be closer to where you're going to drop your action on an AK. So that's definitely going to make a huge difference in which one you choose if you're getting it for training purpose. Now that leads me to another point. Obviously, there's not many people who have an ARX100, especially at this point. This platform is very, very new, and as I said, I believe it will become more popular. But at this point, of course, in America, this is the platform that most everybody's going to be used to in a battle type rifle like this. This is definitely going to be closer to the black rifles that we have in America by far, by way far. This is going to be closer to the rifles that we have here in America. So the good thing about the Smith is the interchange. You can interchange parts in this. Now, I said earlier that you can't buy parts for this. And when I said that, I meant you can't buy the original Smith parts. But of course, you can go in here, you can put in a new trigger if you want to. You can drop in a lighter trigger if you want to. You don't like this handle here. The pistol grip, you can change that. Put on whatever you want to. Put on a mag pull or any type of grip that you want to. You can get a different stock for it if you want to. There's the charging handle is not a standard AR-15 charging handle, but there are several aftermarket companies who make different charging handles for that you can get. You can change your forend here. You can change the quad rail. It does take a little bit of work, but you can change that on here with standard AR-15 quad rails and different forends. So there's all kinds of stuff that you can customize on this. You can put you can get a different mag release on there if you want to. So there's all kinds of parts that you can interchange here. Not so on the ARX. The pistol grip is built into the lower receiver. I mean, it's all one molded piece. You cannot replace this. It's just one solid piece. So the pistol grip cannot be replaced. This trigger is definitely not a standard AR-15 trigger. It's a proprietary trigger. This mag release, of course, there's nothing you can do to that. This stock right here, again, this is a proprietary deal. Maybe eventually there'll be some aftermarket companies who kind of maybe give some options about some different stuff here, maybe having a little bit longer length of pull or something, but that's not really that way right now. So you can see there's not really you can do to this rifle. Like I said, you can take off this flash hider down there and you can replace that with something else, but that's really basically about it. So this thing, you can put all kinds of different parts into it to customize it however you want to. This one is very, very limited on that. One thing that I forgot to say, I'll say real quick, you definitely have more sling options on this ARX than you do on the Smith. It's kind of this kind of a pain in the rear sling option, I believe. But anyways, there's 2 points here, there's 1 point here, and then there's 2 other points on the other side of the rifle. But as far as being able to get aftermarket parts and putting in different parts, the Smith is just light years beyond this rifle right here. You can do all kinds of stuff with that one. I mean, you can put in a 3.5 pound trigger and put on a slide fire here, and you know, do bump firing on this one. This one, you know, would be difficult to do that with. Okay, price is about the same now. I bought this Smith earlier this year. I think it was in February 2014, somewhere around there. I bought it from Palmetto for $359 on sale, and that was a pretty good sale. I haven't seen any that low before, but you know, you probably could find some in that neighborhood, anywhere from I don't know, $375 up to $400 if you're looking and waiting. I bought this one at Academy just a few days ago for $349, which was a pretty good sale. But I think Buds has these on all the time for $360 or $370. And maybe once they get rid of their stock, what they have now, price may go back up. But price on these are about the same now. Like I said earlier, this thing was just crazy expensive. As I saw a lot of people say, you know, for $600-700, that's real gun money for this. But now that it's down around $350 up to $400, it makes it way more viable. It makes it a better option in my opinion. So both of these are about the same price. So hopefully I kind of gave you some things to think about there. Both of these, as I said before, are sweet rifles. Okay, if it was to come down to it and I had to get rid of one and had to keep one, I would keep the Smith. And just, you know, for reasons that I told you today. And they're both good quality rifles. But I would take the Smith over the ARX. But with that being said, I don't want to dismiss this rifle. This rifle is awesome. I really, really enjoy it. As far as accuracy, I believe I was just about as accurate with either one of these, able to put them right on at 30 or 40 yards. So that was that's not a problem on either one of these. But I think I would choose the Smith. But if you can't decide between these two, then I would suggest just buying them so that you can do this.